I think I'm a quite ambitious person, ambitious and creative. I want to do things that people haven't done or rarely do. I want to experience as much as I possibly can.
I think it was just being stunned every day. I imagine ourselves going through amazing landscapes, amazing people, amazing food, amazing beaches, and I thought I was just being happy and amazed every day by all the beauties that you can see in life.
My name is Brett Noddle.
My name is Solène Rodriguez,
and I am driving around the world. Well, my first travel by myself, which is kind of, I think, what travel is, not travelling. When you travel as a kid with your family, it's not the same, you don't remember it. I flew to New York. I grew up on a farm in a town of 500 people, and then getting to a city of 20 million people was quite a shock, a big shock to the system. And yeah, from that moment on, it sort of got my love of travel.
So I'm come from France. I grew up in a small region called Ardèche and born in a town called Aubenas. There is a beginning. The beginning is from France to Australia. Then I wanted to travel around Australia. That's something I've never done, except a little bit for the trip. But it was kind of rushed. I met Brett. Brett convinced me. Actually, Dad convinced us to go to Mongolia. So we went to Mongolia. That was my first trip. I actually had my passport in 2014. So my travel history is quite short. Went to Mongolia with Brett and then West Africa. So that's my passport stamps. Mongolia, West Africa and Australia. When you are in Europe, you don't get out of your comfort zone. It's Europe, so you don't have any borders anymore.
Because you're out of your comfort zone. You're away from everything you know. Yeah, you're in a huge city where nothing is the same. When you first travel, nothing feels the same. So yeah, you just feel uncomfortable. Part of it's escape, I guess. You escape your normal life for something else and for another culture, and from that you learn pretty much everything. You learn new food, new culture, you learn to be more tolerant. It's sort of shaped my personality and who I am from who I was as a young man to who I am now.
So here we are next to the Indian Ocean. The next time we see this, we'll be in Africa.
I've always liked travelling. It's always been a big part of my life, and I don't know. I don't know where the idea came from, but somewhere along the way I had decided that I wanted to take a few years off and drive around the world.
First, when he told me he wanted to do that, I thought that was one of Brett's crazy ideas. Brett is very creative, he has a lot of ideas. Some are realized and a lot of others aren't. Started building the car and all of that, and really what I remember is from working super hard to make everything happen and being in South America. So there is a gap in between. I wasn't quite aware of what was going on, but now I know I love it, and I'm thankful for it.
The idea is to drive the longest points of every continent. So if you stretched every continent out on a map and you drew a line from as far as you possibly can on those points, that is our starting and end point of every continent. It's probably not going to end up the same way as what you think when you start, but I don't really know why, to be honest. It just sort of happened.
I don't remember the day when you told me you wanted to travel around the world. I think he just came home one day and say, what about building a car, but a good one, and go and travel around the world?
So we built our own car, sort of. As you can see, the back half, that is custom made. We designed that part.
Yeah, the front half is a normal car.
We thought it would be the easiest way to travel for a long period of time. I know from my experience, you get sick of travel. You get sick of unpacking your bags, finding a hotel, going out for food. And sometimes you just want to go home. So we thought to eliminate that, we would take our home with us. So when I designed it, I used our house, which we spent an awful lot of time also designing and getting right. So we kind of just went through every room and tried to go, right, what items or what parts of every room in our house do we love as our everyday life? How can we then incorporate that into the design of this? So we broke it down. Obviously the garage is the car, the Land Cruiser. But then we have the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, the laundry. Basically every room that we need to live, to survive, to have our home.
With our own car, we are able to go off the beaten track. We can choose, we want to check these tourist sites at this time because we will avoid the crowds. And yeah, you get to experience a lot more things with your own car because you can just keep driving and keep exploring than just a bus and follow a route with other people.
It's actually the journey that is the site. Like some of our favourite days have just been driving on some back road behind some mountains because we saw something in the distance that looked cool and we wanted to go and check it out. Like, which you can't, or you could do if you're on a bus, but it's very difficult because you're on a bus, you see something out the window, it's gone. Whereas we have the ability, as Solène said, just to pull off, go through the back of someone's farm, up a mountain, and then often there's never anything at the end. We just...
Yeah, but sometimes there are. Like we found an amazing geyser in
the top of Chile.
Yeah. So, everyone pays a fortune to see those things, and we just had it for ourselves and for free. So that's a reward. I've struggled on that word.
So Trepic, what is Trepic? A lot of people ask us that. Some people get it straight away. It just stands for Epic Trip originally, which was a very clever switcheroo.
That was for epic trip or epic travel. You mix them all up and that becomes Trepic. Very clever.
But it was just the name of the Excel document, and then everyone liked it, so it kind of stuck.
Yeah, and we like it.
For the car, we kind of could have chosen quite a variety of ones, but we went for something that's very typical in Australia, which is the Toyota Land Cruiser. The reason I chose that is because they're just tough as nails and they go anywhere. They're awesome four-wheel drive, and yeah, as I said, we bought the ute, so we were able to design that, and there really wasn't any other vehicle that I wanted to take. It's only now that we travel we realise how different everyone else does it to us. Obviously the car comes as is, then we put on the ARB bull bar because lots of kangaroos in Australia and other animals over here, as we've found out. We've gone with the Intensity 32 spotties on the front. They're epic. They don't hurt your eyes when you drive at night. And the Warn 9-ton winch, because I like to get bogged and we need that to get us out from time to time. For the suspension, we basically, because of the extra weight that we're carrying, we needed to change the whole suspension out. So we went with the basically ARB heavy duty Old Man Emu suspension. For the tyres, we went with the Coopers ST Max. I've just always had Coopers and they're awesome tyres, and they, in theory, should last us the entire trip with 6 of them. So yeah, we've been super happy with them so far. Some more recovery gear which we have up here. It's a bit hard to see, but we have some sand tracks up here. which actually get me out of trouble more than pretty much anything. So we have 4 of those sitting up there, and we grab them out when we need.
What I love the most about the car is the bedroom and the bed. It is a rooftop tent. The company's name is Backtrack's Rooftop Tent. They're based in Australia, those guys, and they just do an incredible work. And I've got the magic remote, the Go remote. So you press that and it tells you when you start. So that's all you have to do every day and every morning. So far we have experienced through really hot weather in Australia and really cold weather in Patagonia, and this has been just very good. You've got this thick material in here which doesn't let any lights coming, so if you hang over you can just sleep in the morning, you're fine. If you're too hot you can open it all up, that's not a problem. You've got that little thing against flies. Also for really warm weather we've got a fan, and you open the sides and you're just fine and you just sleep like a baby.
So the majority of my design time, which probably accounts for a good 2 months of full-time work, I imagine, went into designing the kitchen. Obviously we have a restaurant in Australia, we love our food, so having this amount of time to travel, we wanted to be able to eat awesome food whilst we were travelling. Our entire kitchen is outside. We wanted something that we could quickly open up and use the bench, use the toaster, make a quick coffee when we're driving. So for a long day of driving, we can quickly pull over, make ourselves a coffee, a toasted sandwich, and then keep going. Or if we're actually going to stop for a few days, we can set up the full kitchen. So I'll set that out. So we have fridge and freezer, which are both drawers. So we pull out all of our food, it's easily accessible. Freezer we don't use as often, so it's a bit higher, which is fine. We have all of our cutlery and knives here, which we quite good. We have a obviously a gas hob from Trepic and the sink. So both of them run on gas, so all we have to do is quickly plug in this little hose into the gas outlet, and that is connected all underneath, so then that plugs the gas in straight away. Over this side, obviously the coffee machine, the important things, coffee grinder, because we like good coffee. Toaster. Here is our pantry, so all of our food and spices and all of that. All of our pots and pans and plates. And then finally here, we decided to put in a pizza oven because we like to eat good bread. So we put it in a pizza oven so we can bake our own bread whilst we're on the road. So basically, as you can see, everything is pretty well designed to be quickly put in, put out. Even with the tent up and the full kitchen out, we can be set up and packed up and gone within 10 minutes, which is pretty important to us. Under here we have some more prep space if we need to, just another table, which we can actually take off and use as another table elsewhere if we do. There's legs underneath. And then Solène's birthday present, which is empty at the moment because it's a bit warm around here, but it's a wine cellar, so she can put all of her different wines there. But as you can see, we've been drinking a bit lately, so it's empty. Now, the whole kitchen pretty much runs all the cooking stuff on gas, but everything else is electrical. So we have a toasted sandwich maker, we've got blender, the coffee machines and all that always, and it runs on 240 volt. So we've gone with a red arc electrical system, so I'll show you that on the other side after. But we have up here a 180 watt solar panel and another 180 watt solar blanket, which we can pull out when it's sunny or when we need to. We've got about 300 amp hours of battery hidden underneath, and essentially that runs all of our electrical needs. Got all of our lights set up here, the water pump obviously, we're running taps. So that's both hot and cold. So the hot runs from the gas heater that we have on the other side. In here we have a water filter, which allows us to fill up with water from pretty much any water source in the world that's not salty, and we can drink it. To use the electrical stuff, it's quite easy. We just turn on the inverter, so that will turn our 12 volt electricity from the sun and turn it into 240 volt, so we can use the coffee machine.
So here we've got all the computers stuff and a little bit of the bathroom. Then that is Brett's compartment, that is mine. We've got all of our shoes. Here we've got this bit where you put everything, a bit of kitchen appliances. Then we've got our bikes. They haven't been stolen yet. We're pretty happy about that. So to go with the bathroom equipment, we've got shower here. So this is our little shower. Most of the time we take our shower outside, so I'll be doing like that. If it is crowded and there are people, then we've got this sort of like pop-up shower thing, which is just right there.
Our electrical system pretty much all starts at the engine or the sun. So the engine will create electricity when it's charging, when it's running. When it's not, we have a solar panel up here, which we try to use the space quite well. So instead of having it flat, we built a little compartment, and we're hiding a blow-up kayak in there as well. So just to have another little toy and utilise the space as best we could. Under here is all the nuts and bolts of the whole car. So this is kind of where all of our electricity comes from. So we have the red arc battery management system, which that regulates all the electricity coming in from the engine or from the solar panels, which then charges the 3 batteries that we have. From there we have the red arc 2000 watt inverter, so that runs all of our appliances, charges all of our batteries, our laptops. We've got angle grinder and drills and stuff like that for when we need to do any modifications or changes to the car or fix anything. So yeah, actually it runs our electric blanket when it's really cold. So we plug in our electric blanket, turn it on, and we're nice and toasty. So also under here we've got it's a bit hard to see, but back under there we've got a 130 litre water tank. So that pretty much keeps us going for a good solid week without stopping anywhere. We have enough water for about a week.
Yeah, so obviously to plan a trip like this, it's not just all of the travel that you have to plan. We actually had to pack up our life back in Australia. We had to pack up our house, move all of our furniture into storage. I had to get both of my businesses being able to manage without me. and I had an apartment which I was Airbnb-ing out, so we were doing all that ourselves before we left, which we then had to get someone to do. So that was probably the hardest thing to find, was to get that sorted. We managed to get really lucky in the end for a couple of reasons. We managed to find a company that initially was just going to clean it, and I was using their app from the road to organise getting that clean. But then after a while they actually took over the whole apartment for me, and they're doing better than I was. So that's worked out really well. And when I told that company, so the company's fantastic services, so when I told them what we were doing, they were actually quite excited by the idea and were really keen to support us on our trip. So they've come on board as one of our sponsors, which you'll see in their logo on the side of our door. So yeah, we've been really lucky from both ends. One, I've got the apartment managed really well, and I don't have to worry about it for the few years that we're away. And two, they've got on board as a sponsor. So massive thanks to Anton and the team. We wouldn't be here without them. I think we ended up leaving Perth in late July, which was quite a bit later than we had originally planned. There's a few things that we sort of had set in concrete. One of them was a cruise up in the Kimberley.
Yeah, I had an amazing time, just an amazing week on the boat of the Kimberley Pearl Charters. I've never been to the northern part of Western Australia. It was the first time for me.
Even now, after being on the road for 6 months now in South America, that cruise is still probably a highlight. Not just of this trip, but just one of the best things I've ever done. It was incredible.
But more generally, it is this week, the entire week, on the boat with a little amount of people. We were about 10-ish, and there were 4 staff members, and you all feel like we were mates, or they were part of my family.
And it's just such a unique part of the world. It's an archipelago up in the northern part of Western Australia. But what makes it so unique is they've got it's like an 11 or 12 metre tide. So that twice a day, the water drops or rises 12 metres. And it just creates some of the most incredible things. Like, you wake up in the morning and there's an island that's jutting out of the water that wasn't there the night before.
We were enjoying ourselves, probably with a beer or two on the deck of the boat, and the skipper mentioned there were some whales. I don't know, probably 100, I don't know. There were some whales. So Brett decided to quickly put the drone up and have a look, and that was absolutely stunning. We actually saw a mama whale and a baby whale swimming together.
I didn't really have any expectations. I had more curiosity on how it would affect me or how it would change me. A lot of travel that I've done before has been backpacking for short to medium times, sort of 1 month to 3 months, 4 months, around there. So I've never done a trip of this magnitude, so 3 years. I wondered how that was going to affect me and change who I am, or if it would. Probably that was my main curiosity more than anything.
I thought the trip was going to teach me to be more patient. That doesn't happen yet. Then more tolerant. I want to know more about the culture. The world is dividing, and when you travel like that and you go and through different tribes, cultures, people, you realize that we need to be more tolerant.
We had a wheel fall off whilst we were driving. We were driving along in Tierra del Fuego in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden there was a bit of a wobble in the car and our wheel went past us. Just completely fell off, snapped all the bolts. So, but apart from that, no, we've had a pretty good run. Once we cross into North America, so we'll be starting in the south and heading to the north. So we'll be going through some weather which we've never experienced. So Alaska is the first bit, so that'll be cold, but then we're crossing Siberia in the middle of winter. So experiencing temperatures around -40 Celsius, which we have no idea about. And if something goes wrong there, then it's a lot more serious. But I don't have confidence that we'll get to the end without any more issues. Any idea, I think, I have a lot of crazy ideas. This is one of them, but I tend to do them. And this one, it just gives me the confidence that I then can do the next one. That there's no kind of limits to what we can do.
What do I like the most is the freedom of going wherever you want, doing whatever you want. Having the car allows us to go everywhere, really. There is no boundaries. Take the time to live as well, like just slow down a little bit. This is what I like the most, yeah, just the freedom. And we live outside as well, so we don't have a home like with 4 walls that we can lock the door and not see anyone. We're forced to talk to people. Whatever we're doing, we're cooking, having a coffee, reading. There's just this like openness thing and freedom.
Not everyone. It isn't for everyone. I mean, everyone should. You should push yourself to do things that you're uncomfortable doing, even if they're uncomfortable. But you know, we're all different. It's not the life for everyone. Yeah, some people do it for the wrong reasons. Some people, yeah, they, I don't know. Yeah. From a selfish point of view, no, everyone should stay at home, and because then when I go, I have the place to myself. But I think the world would be a hell of a lot more tolerant, and everyone would get along a lot better if they all travelled more, because you realise that people everywhere are generally good.